This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, and I'm still with Solihin. I think I could be with him all my life. He's got so much to say, except I don't understand all the words he's talking about. Maybe you could elaborate on some of these. They sound highfalutin, but of course in your, at your level, they're not. They're normal words, but to the normal layman, they won't know what the hell you're talking about. So please elaborate.
Okay. Yes, you're quite correct. I'm using some words that most people don't normally use.
Fancy schmancy.
Yeah, absolutely. So ontology, which I have to say was a word that I didn't know anything
I had to ask you what that meant.
About 15, 20 years ago. Ontology is the study of being, and I did articulate that earlier on. But it's the idea. It's a philosophical study, really, of looking at what constitutes being, i.e., are we fully present? Are we fully alive? Are we fully in our self, in our real self? So ontology looks at all the sort of aspects of a human being and what makes a human being. So that's the ontology as well. What makes a human being is I've got bones, if you like, that puts structure onto me. I have flesh and I have organs, that puts my physiological mechanism into me. I have ambulatory, i.e. I'm able to move. That puts instinct and animal part of me in. I've got my sexuality, I'm a man. So I've got three elements. I've got a constitutional element, a vegetative or physiological element. I've got an animal element. I've got a human element, my brain, and a noble element. So the ontology is, this is what makes a human being. And what actually happens is that we look at the contingencies that sort of say, well, why is it that this person or this person is not really a human being, but is a human doing or a human feeling or a chip off the old block. In other words, they're down here or here or here. Now this is very hierarchical. It's rather controversial because people don't like to see this hierarchical relationship in human beings, which of course our societies have always been built on. So it's not really that it's truly vertical, but in real terms, it has that verticality, which allows us, in whatever station we are, so station means this is my being at this moment, I'm an empath, I'm a feeling person, I'm aware, I'm awake, I can tune in. So at that level is, what do you tune into? Do you tune into low-level stuff? Do you tune into the fairies and things with wings? Do you tune into what's going on over there? Are you psychic? So there are levels of consciousness within each realm of being. So ontology is looking at those things, and what we do in a dialogue is to help people to move vertically out of their stuck state. So what happens is we get stuck in these particular niches, and we, if you like, find the narrative and using mudras, and the narrative tells us what to do. It actually sort of says, this is what's going on, this is what I need to do. So it's their story coming up, and actually directs us into what sort of therapeutics, if needed, that would actually facilitate them to move upwards and out of their state. So that's ontology. Now I also use the word caduceus. Caduceus is the symbol of medicine. It's used, you see it on the backs of ambulances, you see it in people's calling cards if they're physicians or whatever, and you see it in hospitals. And it's these three elements of a straight line, either one snake or two snakes.
And the pharmacy always has that symbol as well, and it's always green.
Yes, well, yes, because probably pharmacies were green pharmacies in the old days, and now they're of course pharmacological, built on big pharma, actually, on the sort of chemistry level. So they're very material in aspect. But green pharmacies, yes. Well, what actually you see is a cup.
Yeah.
A long stem, so that's the staff. You have a snake coming up and then dropping its poison into the cup. And what it really infers is that your own healing is inside you. that if you really come alive, you can actually regurgitate and put your own poison back into your soul, into your essence, so that your soul and essence can actually start to rectify the faults that you have. So you've got this old caduceus model. Well, what we've done in a dialogue is actually put two other symbols. One is a dove above and a diamond above that, a dove. So a dove represents the Holy Spirit and a diamond represents value.
Oh.
So it means that God's value comes down, it descends as a gift. Why? Because the dove is about surrender. Surrender is about surrendering to the Holy Spirit, surrendering to the divine, surrendering to Allah, surrendering to God, surrendering to whatever is the bigger reality, the implicate reality that we believe is running through the entire universes that we've got out there. So the caduceus is the, if you like, it's the medicine of each human being, because if you contain integrity, which means you're connected to yourself, then you start to connect with your soul. If you contain flexibility, then you're flexible and accommodative and unconditional, and that you are actually able to communicate with the other and don't become a tribal person who says, you know, this is my tribe and you're not my tribe, which is, of course, what's happening in the world today. And if you have light coming through you, and from grace or from your mind or from the consciousness that is here, then actually what happens is you're illuminated, you're seen, you're seen and you see others. So you see the beauty in each other human being, which is...
Do you sit in white light?
Who knows? I
Have
don't know
you?
what that means. Have I what?
Sat in white light?
I'm not even going to answer that question,
Oh.
because it's not a question I would even think about. Where were we? Yes. So surrender actually enables us to surrender to a greater reality, which in fact imparts that integrity, that width, that flexibility, and the light. So in a way, surrender is the key, this dove that sits above us. And that's, of course, in all religious models and theosophical
And
models.
peace.
And peace, yes. The dove means peace. It means to come back, to return to your origin, to surrender, etc., etc. So it has a huge, if you like, gamut of subtext, if you like, apart from just the symbolic nature of it.
And what's your next step? You're living in Turkey, but you don't know if this is going to be your final resting place. No.
Who knows? Who knows?
You go where you're called.
When I'm called. We haven't been called yet, but I'm endeavouring to write this work. Really at a sort of scholarly level.
Yes.
I hope.
Yes.
And that would satisfy the identity part of me that hasn't been fulfilled yet. But also the fact that it needs to be written down, because it's such a profound understanding that I've been given. It's not about my ego, it's just the recognition that actually it's been a remarkable tool for many people. I mean, many people use the work around the world. Not enough, I have to say. And
you have conferences, I suppose, international conferences.
We've had small conferences here and there, yeah, absolutely, and we will continue to do that, actually.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and I wish you good luck on your journey.
I thank
and
you.
your inner journey.
Thank you very much for asking.